This should already be in your module 2, but this is in case you haven't seen my module 2, which is today. C, E, G, earlier we said that was chord C major, right? In most songs in C major, you will play a lot of chord C and a lot of the chord G. If C is the base of the song, then C is called number 1. And 2, 3, 4, 5, and G is called number 5. So sometimes we call the chords by a number. We say this is chord 5. You will play a lot of chords 5. So just move your hand with the proper technique. Call it by the name. C major, G major. The other chord that's also very popular is chord number 4, which is F. So you could see that. Right? Rock and roll songs, Louis, all of that. It's basically those, we call them primary chords. They're very, very popular. Why? Because they're coming from a scale and repeat of that C. So a scale is basically the 7 keys that you can use in your melody. So if you're in C major, it's the easiest one for the piano because you're not touching even on these black keys. You can make a melody out of these 7 keys randomly, like I just made that melody up, right? So that's how you make a melody in C major. You only hit the white keys. But each of these keys have a tendency, like they would pull you home. This is the home key. So the chord C is the home base chord that you often would go to if you're composing. And the chord G is called chord number 5. It's the one that gives you a lot of, like pull. Where does it want to pull you? Pull you back to chord 1. And all of these chords, the F and the G and the C, are all major chord. Now, we don't play F and jump. We could. So, you can jump your hand, yes. But it's a lot to do for a melody, right? We do an inversion of it. What are chord inversions? So the F chord, for example, if I play the C, not here, but down here instead, is it still F chord? Yes, it is. It's the same 3 notes. It's the same chord, F major. Why do I want to play that particular inversion of the F? It's because from C, all I have to do is move my thumb up, replace my middle finger with my index, and there I have F chord. I don't have to jump my hand around. That is why most books would teach you this F, this particular inversion of an F chord. So let's practice that. See? Going to F, I just move my thumb up and the index next door. And back to C again. And back to F again. Move thumb up, the index next door instead. Until you could go back and forth. Say out loud to yourself, C chord to F chord, back to C chord to F chord. Now let's do it broken. And you can put your pedal on the right if you have a real piano, and it sounds resonant. C chord, F chord. You have to change your pattern. Uplift the foot, and just for pleasure. Returning students, you can try that. Just go between these 2 chords and then start improvising here, you can. And just use your ears. Fits, doesn't fit. Now, one more chord to learn. And that's called the chord G. But it's a special kind of G. Most chords are called triad when they have only 3 different notes. G, B, sometimes we want to fancy it out and we add one more note. So notice the concept of chords. Chords are just basically skipping letters. If you started down with a G, you skip A, you go to B. You skip C, you go to D. You skip E, and you go to F. That's basically what a chord is. And if I want, I can do another extension. You skip G, you go to A, and you keep skipping and you go to that one. But we're not gonna do jazz chords, so we're not gonna go way up there. We're just adding one more. So G chord plus one more. And we call that chord G7. Why is that? If G was 1, A here would be 2, B here would be 3, C here would be 4, D here would be 5, E here would be 6, and then that extra note that I just added is 7, right? So this is G7 full. But that's 4 notes to play. It's complicated. My hand can't do it. So what do? Well, first of all, I invert it. What is inversion again? You're just kind of like flipping. So I'm going to flip this G up here. And if I play my chords with these same 4 notes this way, it's called inversion number 1 for G7. So let's try to hit all of those notes with my fingers. It's hard, right? It's hard on your left hand to be able to play B, D, F, and G. So what I do, I say, let's delete one of them. Let's delete this one. Take it off. And I end up with B, F, and G. That's G7. So if I started with C, and for me to go to the G7 is very physically easy. Pinky goes down 1 notch, replace the middle for that index again, and I got G7. This is why most book would teach you not the G chord, but the G7 chord. Because this is kind of easy for most people to like push down together. The pinky, the index, and the thumb. Okay, let's go back to C again. I'm curling my fingers so you could see which keys I'm pressing. Don't curl your fingers like me. Do a beautiful hand position. G7, pinky down 1 notch, replace the middle with index. G7, back and forth. C major and G7. Say it out loud, the chords that you're playing. And C chord and G7 chord. Now if you really know it well, you can do it also broken. So C chord broken, C, G7 chord broken, B, F, G, and again, C, B, G is a C major chord, and G7 chord is here, and C again. Now let's see if you remember where F chord is. It's C, F with the index, and with the thumb, back to C. Now G7 again, we're alternating the 3 chords we just learned. B, F, G, back to C always. In between, just kind of give yourself a break mentally. F again, C, F, then back to C chord. Now G7, the B, F, G, and then I can improvise 1 note for each chord. F chord, please. This time is the first time I'm going from the F chord straight to G7. How do I move? Pinky and thumb will push down 1, and the index is there. Can somebody help Nori with why Nori cannot hear? Because the majority of you do hear me, right? So this is your speaker that's not on, Nori, probably. Now F chord again, and I just add F to it. Back to C chord, but this time I'm gonna play G. And G7 chord, I'm gonna keep the same G, improvising here on the right hand. So this is for like more coordinated people or returning students who can add on a note. and back to C chord. And my note that I chose for the C chord here is E. Why do I choose certain things? Well, I'm just choosing the same key that I have in the left hand. Because if I choose a key that I'm already playing in the left hand for the chord, it will fit, right? So that's the rule. Just choose a key that's the same as the chord you're playing in the left hand. And you're starting to improvise. So I can also do C or C chord. F chord I can choose that one also because it's in your chord. And G7 chord I can choose F. Back to C chord and I choose E. Right? And for F chord I choose A this time. Just randomly. G chord I choose G. And I stay with G with my C chord at the end. And I can add this C chord broken in the right hand. And then just cross over with my left hand and end my song. And that would be how I would say, if you want to start improvising and do a little bit of fun in what you do, you could do that. Just with those three chords. Now we just learned C, F in inversion, and G7. Now I'm not going to go back at practicing this much after the second week, this week. Why? Because this is kind of the bass technique that you need to invest time and do that. Because you can then also play this way. Like a circus song. Or a waltz. We learned how to play broken, and we just did a little improvisation with it. We learned how to play it lock, and now we're learning cha cha, cha cha. Some books call it the waltz style, but it's more like a dramatic Oktoberfest kind of a accordion type of thing, right? So, but it teaches you the technique of playing without changing notes. It's still the same notes. You're just doing it for all of these chords. So the F chord would be bottom note, the top two notes together and repeat it. And a waltz has 3 beats, so that's why we're playing beat 1, beat 2, beat 3 for any chord. G7 the same way. Beat 1, beat 2, beat 3. Always the top notes together. The bass line, the pinky, is alone at the beginning. So G7 would be beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, and beat 1, beat 2, beat 3. So that's the bass that I like all my beginners to practice for their technique. Not only just these chords, naming them, but these chords different ways, broken as well. C to F to G7 to C, and it just style. So that is technique for the left hand. Now we're going to talk about how do I put my 2 hands together for one particular song that's already there in your cheat sheet.